So, brothers and sisters, as we come to a close, like I said, I wanted to explain one more bit, which was Luke 23:34, and then said Jesus, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So again, we see this absolutely, it's just amazing. It's just amazing of what Jesus is thinking about in his time of agony and humiliation. Jesus knows the worth of every soul because it is he that paid the price for everyone. When he was in his agony at the crucifixion, he prays there for his enemies, murderers. He says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And here we see, as we see in the case of Abraham that pleads for the guilty as one man pleads for another, we should put up the earnest prayer for those who are in darkness. And it's important to pray for our enemies, brothers and sisters. As the Bible says in Matthew 5:44, it says, love your enemies and bless those who willfully persecute you. So pray for your enemies. And a way of loving your enemies, brothers and sisters, is for praying for them. And now I just wanted to talk about Simon. Remember, we were mentioning Simon earlier. So his compulsory companionship. So he was forced and he was compelled to bear Christ's cross. So his compulsory companionship with Christ in bearing his cross to Calvary, in beholding the sad and dreadful work and the spectators beneath the cross, was the means of drawing his heart to Jesus. Every word from the lips of Christ was graven upon his soul. He heard the prayer, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. He heard the words of Christ to John and his mother, and the heart of Simon believed. God works in mysterious ways, and I think that was one of the reasons why Simon was compelled to carry the cross, so that he can believe. So looking at what Christ was going through, and then hearing the prayer from Christ to his enemies, and hearing the words of compassion and love, changed his heart. And finally, there was no pitying hand to wipe the debt due from his face, nor words of sympathy and unchanging fidelity to stay his human heart. He was treading the winepress alone, and of all the people there was none with him. None. While the soldiers were doing their fearful work, and he was enduring the most acute agony, Jesus prayed for his enemies, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. His mind was borne from his own suffering to the crimes of his persecutors, and the terrible but just retribution that would be theirs. He pitied them in their ignorance and guilt. What words! He pitied them, and he said, forgive them, for they know not what they do.